Hi, hello everyone. This is Philip Martin, and this is On Film, the video edition of it, which is something we've been doing for about 7 months now, and I don't think we're going to stop just because no one's told us to. And as long as I'm stuck here at home, it's something I'm going to do, and it gives us a chance to do things that we can't do in print, which is like show you stuff like. I meant to bring up, and I'm not going to do it now, but I meant to bring up the movie I'm watching downstairs, which I just finished, Love and Monsters, and show you this is how I'm watching these movies on a laptop. And really, I'm not even doing full screen because I'm making notes on the side. Those little sort of inside baseball things, some of you, the ones that are watching this video, I would imagine, find interesting. It's the nuts and bolts of how you work as a film critic in a tertiary market during a pandemic. I have been to a movie theater in these last 7 months, but only a handful of times, and it's always been a very controlled, experience. I haven't been in a crowded theater. I didn't go to any of the Arkansas. Now I have the windows open, and I'm going to leave them open because it's very pleasant. So you're going to have to put up a little bit ambient noise. And I can hear the ambient noise, so I know it's not overpowering. It's not like that first one where we had that weird hum in here, and I don't know what that was. But anyway, I haven't been in a theater, haven't been into a crowded theater, and I haven't been to a film festival. We missed all the ACS stuff. The Arkansas Cinema Society, we stayed away from the drive-in just because we didn't want to take up the space. And because we will get a chance to see those films later, Nomadland, Dreamland, all those films that we haven't seen, we'll see in due course. I don't know exactly how it's going to work this year because usually by this time this year, I've already started receiving the end of the year for your consideration screeners. The Oscar hopeful movies would have already started sending some of those out. I mean, a lot of them come out between, actually the end of October and mid-December is when I get most of them. But already I would have some. By early October, I would have a few. Haven't got any yet. Have got a ton of screeners that are just there on my computer that I can watch if I had the time to watch them, and I'm trying to find the time. For instance, and sometimes I have the time to watch them and I don't have the time to write about them. For this week, I was going to review, I'm going to review Love and Monsters. I was going to review Honest Thief, but it turns out that I found a Wire review, which I don't like running Wire reviews generally, but this is from Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune, who is a good critic, who is someone I respect and like, and he's written a good review of it, and it's pretty congruent with what I thought about the film, so I'm not going to bother to write about it, all right? I may do the same thing with Two Hearts, which is a film I haven't been able to see. I'm trying to see it. I'm trying to get one of our critics to see it. But if we can't, well, this will be a different kind of experience, a different kind of movie style for this week, and that we'll have a couple of Wire reviews. We haven't been running Wire reviews, but, sometimes it works out that we can. And we're just making it up. We're just piecing it together week to week as we go along. Glue and duct tape and paper clips. That's the whole secret here. I am getting a chance to see a lot of movies, which is really sort of interesting. And the ones I'm not seeing, or we're not seeing, and no one is seeing, we feel kind of safe and not paying too much attention to them because you can't pay attention to everything, and there's a lot of stuff out there. I do believe we're going to have a feature on the faith-based people. I touched on that last week in my new movies column and in this video. And because we did that, the the filmmakers reached out, and so they made the film available to us. And Dan Liebarger has talked to them, and we'll see what that does. I haven't got it yet, so I don't know what it's going to say. Again, we're being completely honest and open and transparent in these things. We put these together before the section gets put together, so there's always a chance that something will change things different. And then one of the other things that we do is that most of you know that we have a regular DVD column, and that's my wife, my lovely wife Karen, writes that lovely DVD column, and we cover movies that are coming out on DVD in it, basically. And we don't generally cover other things, though occasionally she's been getting more and more into, doing odder things. I mean, she's doing a lot of reissues, and she's doing a lot of, she's doing some Stranger Things. But there's still projects that aren't movies, definitely aren't movies, and come out every once in a while that deserve attention, but we don't give it to them. So we're going to try to do a little bit of giving attention where attention should be given in this column sometimes. If all I could do is, like hold up and the glare. All right, I want to see. Yeah, the Dolly Parton Ultimate Collection. Okay. Yeah, I have to block myself out. So this is a really cool set. I mean, it's Time Life. So it's one of those. And I think it's a 10. It's got to be. Whoa. It is 4 DVDs. And there are, 4 boxes. And each 6 DVDs, 5 DVDs. So I could probably just read it. It's probably going to be between, 25 or about. Well, it doesn't say. I don't have the information. But you've got tons of Dolly Parton's TV appearances from the Porter Wagner Show on in this amazing box set. And if you're a Dolly Parton fan, as you should be, because she is a national treasure and a wonderful songwriter and instrumentalist, as well as Dolly Parton, the singer and phenomenon and icon. Yeah. And, it's just great. I think it's $100. Might be more. Might be $150. But it's $100 and you get just about, you get how much? Okay, let's say it's 22. Let's just say there's 2 6 and 2 5. So there's 22 DVDs in there. Each DVD approximately 3 hours worth of stuff. So do the math, 60-something hours worth of Dolly Parton in this for $150, if that's what it costs. It's a pretty good deal, especially if you're somebody who is interested in the history of country music and interested in the history of country music and the nexus of country music and television, which is something that's underexplored but really needs to be thought about and talked about. In the 60s, television really was where country music lived. You had the Wilburn Brothers show, you had all these syndicated shows, the Porter Wagner show, of course Hee Haw, things like that. Then CBS got rid of all their rural shows like in 1969. And, but I'm not going to go into that right now, but it's a really fascinating thing. And I think that the Dolly Parton set is really cool. I don't know how much I'll delve into it, but it's something that someday I'm really going to look into because, like I said, I really want to explore that '60s country phenomenon because I've never seen anybody really write much about that or talk too much about that. But you had the Beverly Hillbillies, you had Petticoat Junction, and you had these syndicated, variety shows with country musicians. Johnny Cash, Glenn Campbell, they came out of that. TV, TV and country music is not something that I think a lot of people think about. But, Also, if you liked The Favorite from a few years ago, in 2018, and I have to admit that it took me a while to actually appreciate what The Favorite was doing, what Tony McNamara was doing in The Favorite. But I do appreciate it now. I think if I was to go back and look at the movie, and I don't know, maybe I don't think I reviewed it. I think Piers reviewed it, and I think he liked it better than I did at the time. But I would have been wrong because I really like it now. And this is, and again, so I am mirrored here. See, when I do this on Zoom, I'm not mirrored. So I have left-right problems on this. But this is the great. This is the Hulu show that Tony McNamara just did. It just wrapped up its first season. Nicholas Hoult and Elle Fanning, who Steve Fanning used to play for the Arkansas Travelers. You guys know that, right? Dakota and Elle's dad used to be a shortstop for the Arkansas Travelers. Okay. Anyway, this is a really funny comedy, a black comedy about Catherine the Great. And it does not hew at all to the historical record. Basically, Catherine was there 17 years before anything that happens in this series starts to happen. And this starts to happen here as soon as she arrives in court. And it's very viciously funny if you like Veep, if you like that sort of humor. It's great. And it's also, like The Favorite, it utilizes this sort of racially colorblind casting, which is something they've done in the theater for a long time. You know, it's sort of like, let's just take the best actor and not care about whether they're black or yellow or brown or white or whatever, and just put them in whatever role, which, you know, takes a little bit, if you're not used to that, especially if you're used to watching American Hollywood films and our TV and stuff, it takes a moment to kind of get that. It's sort of like watching Shakespeare. It just takes a little bit, 5 minutes or so to get used to that, and then you don't see it anymore. And it's a really wonderful way of casting things going forward. I assume that it's going to become the standard in, you know, movies and TV shows, you know, in the future. I think that's just the way we're evolving. Next up on the the DVD slush pile. These are DVDs I have not gotten into yet. I have not opened them. This is one of my favorite films, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it again. And I guess this is the new 4K version of it. I don't know why. It's a director's cut, so Darren Aronofsky, you know, Requiem for a Dream, Jared Leto, you know, this brilliant Ellen Burstyn, Jennifer Connelly, of course. I couldn't remember her name. If you haven't seen it, it's a trippy film. Trippy movie. But it's back out. It's out here. This is something I remember this from when it came out, which was in the 80s, or 79. Einstein's Universe, the BBC program, Nigel Calder, who back then I read several of his books. But, you know, it's out. You know, I mean, if you're looking for a DVD that explains some things, Einstein's Universe, oh, Dear Diary. Yeah, this is another great film from the 80s. Film Movement's one of my favorite companies. They started out as a subscription-based service back, I want to say, hello, Audi. Audi's here. I don't know if you watched Audi walk in. Come here. Come here, Audi. We have to do the... No, Audi left. Audi ran away. Audi ran away. Okay, that's our cameo from Audi. But anyway, Film Movement started out as this subscription service where they would send you these foreign and independent films. Every month they'd send you one. And yeah, it was great. Especially back... I remember talking, I can't remember the guy who started, but he's no longer with the company. But he was a producer, and I think he was involved with Killer Films. But, you know, go back and... I wrote about it, you know, it's a long time ago. But anyway, he was telling me that he lived in the suburbs, you know, outside New York City, and he couldn't go into the art city to see an art movie as often as he'd like. So he came up with this idea that they would just, you know, buy these films, make DVDs of them, and they were DVDs. It wasn't that long ago, and they would ship them out to subscribers all over the country, and they would have limited theatrical runs in different theaters. We never had a theater here that played any of these films, so I think the old Market Street may have come close, or may have. I don't think they did it, but I think they might have investigated doing it. And it's sort of evolved into just your standard, sort of like Kinos or Criterion Collection. They just are a very curated, you know, DVD distribution company. So I really like them. They've got a great history. This is a great film from 1993 or 94. I thought it was 80s, but it's, yeah, 1993. And Nanny Moretti. Yeah, it's. Well, I don't know how this got here. I have no idea what this is. This is another Corinth. Yeah, Corinth did Besides Universe. So I guess they're if not a new company, at least new to me company. And I don't know what this is, a film about with Coolio in it. Coolio. Remember Coolio? It's, okay, I just read what it says. It's to welcome to the monotonous, oppressive, modern byproduct of suburban sprawl, the urban strip mall. And this is a movie about strip malls. Affordable mattress store. Okay. I think we can see what that's about. Again, Karen may write about this. I don't know. I mean, but this is where she gets her stuff, her pile. Sword of God, which is, what is this, Polish? Yeah, I think it's a Polish film. Yeah. This is another film movement thing. See, it's not all arty titles. They do send you things like this. And I guess they're doing, more and more of this now, because at first they were dedicated to sort of this higher brow cinema. Yeah, the guy from Game of Thrones, right? Silencing. Yeah, this has got one of those digital copies. I may, probably not, but, Oh, I'm really dying to get into this. This is another one of those things that we really don't have a place to talk about, so I'm talking about it here. But if you remember the Midnight Special from the 70s, which is a really cooler show than we knew, because it seemed kind of dull and hip, dull and square at the same time when we were kids, unless there was somebody you really wanted to see on there. They had live performances on TV. And this is a particularly good collection. It's a 5-seat DVD set. And we got James Brown on here, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Al Green, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Curtis Mayfield, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Sly and the Family Stone, Spinners, Staple Singers, Barry White, Bill Withers, those guys. I mean, it doesn't say how many hours this is. 572 minutes of, the Midnight Special. Well, that's something that when I'm here by myself, which will happen someday, this will get put on and we'll leave it on all night. Okay, I'm looking for this. This is not... No, this is another Corinth. Corinth has got to be pretty interesting. This is a German film I've heard of, A Regular Woman. And it's based on a true story, of course. I don't know anything about it. I've heard about it. So we'll be checking that out at some time. And you get these things. Another Corinth. All right, Corinth must just have started sending us stuff. A film about Botero, the most popular artist in the world. Believe it or not. All right. Now, I'm just really into... Oh, another film movement. Yeah, see, it's the other thing I want to say about these films. Usually they include like bonus short films and featurettes in there. They're really nice little packages. This is a British film about a vampire. Okay. 19th century Gothic novel. Dark Sky Films. They're another interesting company that do a lot of work with horror films. A lot of my friends would like these things. I mean, Dark Sky gets some interesting titles, and they're not all cheesy. They're not all... Oh, and the Paramount Presents series. If you don't know about this is basically they're just going back to the catalog and releasing things that they think are interesting. This is Liam Neeson, back when he was a kid. I think. When was this? What is the year on this? Okay, hang on a second. Yeah. 1999, so it's not that much of a kid. It's after Schindler's List, but Liam Neeson in The Haunting, Jean de Bont, Speed. If you miss it. Lily Taylor, Owen Wilson, yeah, Liam Neeson. Yeah, I mean, everything's going to be available. And now whether you want to keep a DVD library or not, and I do. I mean, it's sort of like I've started to catalog my library. This is the first This is about half of what I've got in. You can't read these, you know. But I've got them in little. I took them out of these big cases and put them in these little sleeves, and then we've got them cataloged by year, by year, and by title. This is something I don't know about. Peter Facinelli, who was in, I know from Nurse Jackie. Everybody else would know from the Twilight series. You know, he made a movie. Yeah, here you go, and it's out on DVD, rated R, and there it is, The Vanished, and which is a good double feature with The Haunting, maybe, and you can do that before the fire. All right. So anyway, that's our little behind-the-scenes thing. This is the stuff that we have not gone through, and what I think about it without watching any of it. I don't think I've watched anything. I did watch this whole series. That's good. But, you know, I haven't watched any of it. Don't know anything about it, except it's here. And maybe we'll get to it. And like I said, Karen will come up here and pick up some of the stuff and watch some of it. And some of it will just, unfortunately, you know, go uncovered forever. And I don't know. But if you want to send me your DVD, your movie, feel free. Because we do that. And we do write about these things, and we write about them in some depth. But there's always a chance that we won't write about it. It's like the people who send me books. I just can't read them all. I am sorry. I love authors, and I love books. And usually, you know, it's a happy day at the mailbox. But I can't in good conscience tell you that I am definitely going to look at anything you happen to send me. And, you know, that's just the way it is. So anyway, this week looks like, as far as I can tell, it's a pretty normal, new normal week. We don't have any big movies coming out. We have a lot of like these middleweight movies, and some of them are pretty good. There's Love and Monsters is gonna find an audience, I think. It's not spontaneous. Spontaneous is really good. It's not really good, but it's gonna find an audience. Same thing with Honest Thief. Honest Thief is like you take the two current Liam Neeson's personas. One is the man of action who has a certain set of skills, who will kill you. The other one is the sensitive, you know, guy in a relationship. So you take those two Liam Neesons and put them together in Honest Thief. That's what that's about. All right, and it's not bad. It's a fun movie. I watch Liam Neeson in almost everything. You know, it's funny because my neighbor was just asking me who I look like. And we told her the story about when we went to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the grand opening in 1995, that there was a woman who was convinced I was John Denver. Absolutely convinced I was John Denver, and would not leave me alone, and followed us around. And it was sort of like it to the point where I almost had to be rude to her. But anyway, but I've also gotten the Liam Neeson thing. It's some point, and once, well, admittedly, people knew Liam Neeson was in a hotel, the Peninsula in Los Angeles. I was actually mistaken for him, and it's funny because I've met a lot of these guys, and usually if they say they're 6 foot, they're 5'9". If they say they're 6'2", they're maybe 6 foot. Liam Neeson is pretty much exactly my size, and maybe a little heavier than I am, maybe a little broader. So he's a legitimate 6'2", well, he's probably 200 pounds, or close to 200 pounds. So, you know, he's like a genuinely big Hollywood guy. I remember when I met Forrest Whitaker, who, before I met him, I thought he was this huge man. And Forrest Whitaker comes up to here on me, and his shoulders like this, and he looks big on the screen. Okay. It has to do more with proportions than actual bulk or mass or whatever. But the camera likes people who are relatively small with relatively large heads and features. So that's all there is to that. But anyway, Liam Neeson's a genuinely big guy. I don't know why why is that important to us? I don't know, but it is. It is. I just wanted to throw that out there. Wow. Well, I've got to get back down and work. This is just my little break to come up here and talk to you about what's coming on in the movie section. And I've also got another shot at it in the new movies column. So, hey, I can hit you a couple places. Anyway, you have a comment, leave me a comment, send me an email. That's my Twitter handle. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.